I'll get into some issues on loan backs later on here. Offshore, you have more latitude doing that. Offshore, you have wider latitude on how you invest the money. Onshore, less latitude, and it depends upon the domicile. Some domiciles, like Kentucky, every time you make a major substantial change of any sort, they have to give them file a notice. That's probably more restrictive. If you're doing a related party deal investment, they'll want, usually the domicile will want to have pre-approval on that also. Less restriction if it's a surplus. Surplus is the money that's not set aside for reserves for the policies that are out there. But generally, they want to see what you're doing. And you always want to act like an insurance company anyway. You want to treat it as an insurance company. You also, if you're choosing a domicile, you want a favorable environment. If a domicile is just enacted captive legislation, they haven't hired anybody to work in the captive department, probably not a good place to go. Because you're not going to get fast treatment. It's going to be more difficult to work with. You want an environment where they're receptive to captives. Loan backs, the IRS generally doesn't like loan backs. Loan backs are where you borrow the money out of the captive. That's an issue they always ask on an audit. It's an issue that they put out for public comment in 2005 and promised they would get back with their position. It's now 2013, and they haven't come out with their position. But generally, it's advisable to avoid loan backs, and if you do them, make sure that they're documented as commercially reasonable, and of course, if they're onshore, pre-approved by the regulators. All right, the implementation process. On the implementation process, you need a feasibility. I recommend having a feasibility study with an actuary involved in it to determine whether or not a captive is feasible or not. You got to make your choice of domicile. I went over that. The corporation is formed. You got to go through the underwriting process, which is determining the premiums and the policies that we're going to issue. You have the policies that are written, and then you do the application to the domicile. They review it, have questions. You oftentimes have to make some changes, answer questions for them. I'm talking onshore, and then the policies, the license issued, premiums are paid, and then you have ongoing management. I'm hurrying through this because I think I'm running out of time here. Scott, am I running out of time? Feasibility.
We have about 10 minutes left, and we would like to. You've done a great job in answering Q&A as we've gone through, but I know a lot of questions are still coming through. And actually, let me just throw this out there. But if we still have questions that are going on and we get past that hour-and-a-half minute mark, can we stay on the line just a little bit longer to go through some of those? Maybe do that. They wouldn't be for CPE necessarily, but at least to try to get through some of them. Would that be okay with you, Fred?
Oh, yeah, that's fine with me, yes.
Okay, all right. So, yeah, we'll do our best. At 11:30, we'll make the announcement. I'll let everyone know about CPE, but please keep those questions coming is really all I'm trying to say. Okay, thanks.
All right, Scott, do you want me to just continue talking on this or answer?
Yeah, absolutely. Whatever you'd like to do, but.
Okay, well, typically, I'll try to answer some questions and talk about this. Some persons asked about the feasibility study. Generally, I'll just talk about how we do things. Generally, let's say a P&C broker or somebody contacts us, the client contacts us, and they're considering doing a captive. We take an initial review of the circumstances of the client, and we give them a general idea of whether or not it's likely that you're going to get a favorable